get a hold of me, call me. Hey, we're live.
I always like getting those combos in because they're usually pretty interesting. And you're not a weird guy, so I know I'm not going to catch a moment where you're talking about weird stuff.
So anyways, there I was. No,
At any rate, this is the Black Powder Podcast. I want to apologize in advance. We didn't have enough time to promote this episode, but it's a really critical episode for more than a couple reasons. I'm one of your hosts, Marcus Matthews, the only real libertarian in the Libertarian Party in America, in North America, in the Western Hemisphere, the Northern Hemisphere. You could just name it. I'm him. And this is the only real libertarian podcast. And as usual, I'm joined by my friend, the former Florida man, new father, Eric Parker, Bold Liberty. What's cracking, homie?
Man, I'm here hanging out in North Carolina, trying to hold it down. Last night, I actually went out and helped a local candidate put out some yard signs in his district. He's running for city council race. So getting back into the it's a nonpartisan race, but the libertarian political sphere. Not me as a candidate, just a volunteer, just trying to help out where we can. So I'm looking forward to talking with this candidate coming up and figuring out how not only is just the podcast, but the party and other individuals can get involved and help this guy out.
Right.
But before we do that, I think you wanted to touch base on critical events happening. Yeah.
I think we would be remiss if we didn't address the issue of yesterday's violence. I've been thinking about this all day long, what to say. And, I'm going to start off by being perfectly honest. I can't say that I was necessarily a fan of Charlie Kirk. I think the principle to which he was trying to engage in dialogue was a sound principle, but I disagree with him on a lot of things. With that being said, I'm a father. I have a son and a daughter. And one thing I know is that kids need a father. And regardless of what I thought about the dude, and I was telling my son this yesterday, I remember when I was, my roommate came in my room and said, hey, Tupac was killed today. Tupac got shot and he's dead. I was like, wow, that was something I wasn't expecting to hear. And then shortly after that, they asked for a statement from Biggie Smalls. And Biggie Smalls said he was saddened, and they had all kinds of beef. Tupac was talking about his wife and all that stuff. And it was very personal. And he said, he said basically, I don't wish death upon anybody because there ain't no coming back from that. And that's the same thing I feel with Charlie Kirk. He wasn't my homie, and I know people on this podcast do like him and whatnot. But when you take measures that far and you silence somebody you disagree with, you start to destroy this republic. And I just wish we could get back to viewing each other as humans instead of Democrats and Republicans or liberals or conservatives, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. So I say God bless the Kirk family. And I hope, I know this is difficult, but I hope they can find solace and peace. So with that good, Eric?
Yes. Honestly, I didn't really know much about Kirk. I wasn't a follower of his. I would see some things and discussions. I did like how whenever he had conversations with people he disagreed with, he never personally attacked them. He might have attacked their ideas. Yeah. You know what I mean? But he never made it personal. And someone took his life, and all he was doing was talking. He wasn't threatening anyone. So my condolences go out to Charlie Kirk's family first and foremost. I'm praying for them during this painful time. I said this in multiple places. As a libertarian, I swore the pledge. I hereby certify that I do not believe in or advocate the initiation of force as a means of achieving political or social goals. Now, there's already people on both sides. Well, maybe it hasn't started from the Republicans yet, but I also oppose gun control, whether pushed by Democrats or recently Republicans. Disarming the law-abiding doesn't stop evil; it enables it. So I'm just gonna, get ahead of it. I could see right now, especially if they're trying to say they found this or that on the rooftop, they're already going to use it as a way to just infringe on more individuals' liberties. And just because we might not fall into that group right now, that doesn't mean that the government isn't going to use whatever tool they have to infringe on our liberties later. They're going to abuse this power later, and they're going to abuse it for you. But whoever shot him, I'm still praying that they catch the individual. I don't know if their news is out if they caught the individual yet or not. I think they're still on the loose. So if you're a praying person, pray that they catch them. And, I doubt anyone watching this podcast right now is going to hear this say, oh my gosh, but if anyone knows anyone that has any footage on their cameras, now might be the time to reach out to law enforcement and offer what you got. That being said, I'm praying for the Charlie Kirk's family. I will say this. He owned the fact that he was put on South Park as a character, and he owned it, and he thought it was hilarious. So I'll give him his kudos. He's willing to take he was willing to take it on the,
on the chin, so to speak.
Yeah, on the chin, so to speak. And he fought for what he believed in. He took his message into places with people that disagree with him, much like we have invited people we disagree with on this podcast, and we've offered them an opportunity to talk about their perspective. When we didn't shut them down, we would politely disagree with them on certain areas, and that's fine. That's, you and I have disagreed on things, and then, next thing you know, we're on the podcast having a beer with each other. So
yeah. And that's one thing.
Got to have open dialogue, people. We got to have open dialogue.
There's one thing I was also thinking about is, and I've said this several times, every day, millions of Americans wake up and go to work. Every day at work, they get a job done with people that they probably don't see eye to eye on politics, ideology, morals, all kinds of factors in the human existence. They probably don't see eye to eye on that. But every day Americans get the job done. And then those Americans go home, turn on their stupid box, and they listen to pundits, politicians, and influencers tell them why they should hate that person, that may be their neighbor, maybe their co-worker, why they should hate them. Because it's no longer about the best idea. It's all about selling fear to the American people. And, the only real enemy that could ever take down this country is within. Is when we can't see the basic humanity in each other. And I'm sorry, Eric, to cut you off, but that it saddens me that we're at this point in our republic where we're teetering towards democracy with all this new gerrymandering of voting districts. And people are advocating for a one-party solution, and nowhere in history has a one-party solution been the answer, because that is why the United States of America exists, is because of a tyranny of a one-party system. And now we're teetering towards that one way or another. We're going to find out soon next year in the midterms. But this is where we're at as a republic, and that's why it's so critical for libertarians to start raising their voices. Did you have anything else?
Let me touch on this real quickly. Also, Joe News got a court in Florida ruled open carry ban is unconstitutional. That's great for Florida. Joe, I would like to see Florida actually have true constitutional carry instead of what is it? Permitless concealed carry. So essentially, when you get open carry, that'll make it a little bit more like constitutional carry. That being said, what happened in the stabbing in Charlotte on the train, I'm not saying that it's anyone there been armed that it would have prevented that, but it would definitely make me feel a lot safer if I knew I was allowed to have a firearm on the public transit system in Charlotte. According to people from, I think, Mecklenburg, the county affiliate for Charlotte, I think it's Mecklenburg, pretty sure, county, they've said that the rules in place don't allow you to defend yourself on public transit in Charlotte. So those laws need to be fixed. A lot of people instead are talking about holding judges accountable, which I get that too, but they could fix some of the stuff locally in Charlotte. Could have made people feel a lot safer. I don't use public transit. I'm a guy that like to drive my own car. If I drink, I'll get an Uber or a taxi. You know what I mean? But I usually don't use public transit. There's that privatized transportation. I digress. Maybe it's time we, if you're ready, those of you, this is speaking of being safe, this is Donor Box or Stop Box USA. There's a 15% off coupon code. This is a pretty great. I don't have mine. It's in the other room right now, but my firearm's in there and locked up. We have a new child here. I'm starting to practice better firearm safety in my household. You got to start somewhere. Why not start in your household? This is a great way to do it. Stop Box. All right. With that being said, Marcus, if you're ready.
Yeah, I just want to say the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast, is brought to you by the letters H and K and the number 2040. Not 40. I just want to throw that out there because this is the type of podcast this is. It's a libertarian podcast. And when we talk about things that like happen in Charlotte and whatnot, we have to start at the local level in addressing those issues because judges typically act within the law, or else they're getting the defendant or the prosecution a route to circumvent them. And that's why it's so important for libertarians to start stepping up to that mantle of local governance, because that's where it all starts. And in our recent series, what we've been doing is bringing you local libertarian candidates that are vying for those local spots. And what we're doing today is we're going to the great state of Kansas and Merriam, Kansas, and we're going to bring my guy in. Hold on. My guy, Billy. How's it going out there in Kansas, Merriam, Kansas, correct?
You might be muted. Having audio problems here, Billy. Still no. Technical difficulties here. Drink them if you got them while Billy figures it. Still nothing, Billy.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Check your mic settings.
Can you hear me now? I can hear you. I did hear that. That was okay. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let's go back. We forgot to hit it with that, Eric, earlier.
I've got a better spot. Sorry, everyone.
All right.
No worries.
So everyone, it appears Billy was trying to use his Bluetooth headphones so he wasn't disturbing anyone, I'm guessing, and his headphones weren't connected with the microphone, so he's moving somewhere, so he's not going to bother others around him. But we're cool with that,
exactly
Billy.
Right. And I am out in the courtyard now.
All right.
Sweet.
Yeah. Audio's good. We got good video. Looking at that Kansas skyline.
Beautiful Kansas sky, and I can hear you much better now.
Sweet.
This is the courtyard of our community center we just built about 5 years ago. I was on the Parks and Rec board at the time that we planned this out, and it has kind of been the new gem of our city in recent years.
That's awesome.
I salute you on that. That's pretty damn awesome that
Thank you.
You can show.
Yeah.
So
We got it. So let's dive right in then, Billy. If you don't mind, let everyone know who you are. Tell us a little bit about Merriam, and I'll get into some of the statistics of it later if you have them. But just introduce yourself. Let everyone know like how you knew you were a libertarian, a liberty-leaning candidate, and what made you decide to run for mayor. It sounds like you already have some experience working in the public sector in Merriam, and that's good experience. So why don't you go ahead and talk about that, please?
Well, my name's Billy Croan, and I'm running for office. I'm running for mayor this year because I believe our neighbors deserve open, honest government that listens to the people. My background, I've spent 20 years in information technology. In the last 11 years, I've lived in this city. In the last 10 years, I've gone to every city council meeting in this city. I've been on the Parks Board, the 2040 Comprehensive Plan Committee. There's some downtown planning committees that I've been on. And I was just at a public meeting today. Our city's art committee met today at this very community center. So I'm very active at this point. I go to more of these subcommittee meetings than the mayor himself, my current opponent. So I've been preparing to take this mayorship for the last 10 years in a very general sense, but certainly in the last 6 months, taking every opportunity to be involved.
All right. I'm going to ask you a little bit, first off, about the race specifically.
Yeah.
It's a partisan, nonpartisan race. Whenever people show up to vote on the ballot, will it have your party affiliation or no?
It will not. In Kansas, the odd-numbered years are considered nonpartisan years.
All right. So, and we've had this discussion within our party. I think that, and you probably know this, that might help libertarians with the opportunity to get elected. That being said, it does sound like you're running against an incumbent. How many terms has that incumbent been?
I prefer to call him my. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I prefer to call him my predecessor, not the incumbent. He is finishing up his first and last term as we speak. He was a city council person before that, and you struck on something about the label libertarian being a hindrance in some cases. I just spoke to a neighbor. I want to say 3 days ago when I was canvassing, and she said she would never vote for a libertarian. But I talked to her. I talked to her at her doorstep, and we had a good conversation, about 10 or so minutes. And now she's got 2 of my yard signs in her yard. I think a lot of people don't understand what libertarians are about. She mentioned she had seen Rand Paul, that he said something that she didn't like, and ever since then she hated libertarians. And I looked it up and showed it to her. He's a Republican. So
yeah,
and just her getting to know me, that face-to-face interaction, that changed her mind.
Yeah. And so for those people out there deciding to run for office, if you watch this video later looking for advice, know that those one-on-one conversations with your neighbors, those can change the opinion of not only what people have in your election, but with the libertarian label moving forward. Keep that in mind, though. If you say something boneheaded on the campaign trail, you're going to have to be able to explain yourself, especially if it's taken out of context and used against you by someone else down the road. Right. That being said, so how about let's go back a little bit. Marcus, let me know if I'm stepping on your toes.
No, you're good.
Being the seat you had or the position you had with the Parks and Rec division, department, whatever you call it, was that an appointment? Did you get chosen? Was it an election? Tell us about that.
That was an appointed position. I started going to council meetings in this city in 2015. And around that time, they were having a lot of vacancies in the Parks Board, and they saw me participating in city council stuff. And so they tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, would you come and serve on the Parks Board?"
Gotcha. And whenever you say they, do you mean the people in the current city council or the former city council? And the city also, would you say there's like more Republicans or Democrat leaning individuals that tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, we think you'd be great for this"? Or does that matter?
Yeah, it was mainly the mayor at the time who made that recommendation, and our parks director, and the council, of course, confirmed that recommendation. Our council is largely Democrat leaning. I think we have 1 Republican on the council and 7 Democrats.
Gotcha. So you're running for mayor. Marcus, is your mayor Democrat, Republican leaning? I'm assuming Democrat.
Yeah, he used to be Republican affiliated. but as of late, he is unaffiliated. I could tell you from the
Gotcha.
voter rolls.
Well, then that's encouraging to hear because that means a libertarian could easily be elected to
yeah.
the mayor. All right, Marcus. Sorry, I wasn't trying to interject there.
No, it's all good. Why the Libertarian Party? I mean, that's what I want to know for you. What was the? This is what Eric alluded to earlier, but I wanted to get into that question.
Why did I choose the Libertarian Party?
Yes.
Because I think the non-aggression principle makes a whole lot of sense. Most of the laws that we have in the books today could be summed up. Most of the valid laws that we have on the books today, the morally valid laws, can be summed up by the non-aggression principle. There are things from the Republican Party and the Democratic Party that I agree with and that I disagree with. And the Libertarian Party, in some ways, is kind of a happy medium. I think more independent people should really consider the Libertarian Party.
Gotcha. Well, with that being said, I think that's why, in light of what actually got Donald Trump elected in the last election cycle, which was podcasts and social media, more so than the mainstream media, because only people that really watch the news, and I apologize to Tub, he can be here tonight, but are boomers. And Tub is a boomer.
Hey, Marcus, be careful what you say. Boomers vote
I'm
more.
Texting Tub. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they vote more.
Yeah, they vote in midterms.
The next generation. Yeah, they vote, and they're your super voters. So
yeah,
sure. Billy knows a lot about the super voters, right? And your race. Have you been looking at the super voters, knocking on those doors first?
Yeah, actually, I created a very advanced spreadsheet in Google Sheets of all the voter data. I know that our city has 11,000 people, roughly, about 8,132 voters, and about 1,200 that consistently vote in city elections. So I definitely have been about 1,200. That's it, in a city of 11,000.
11,000. That's a little over 10%. I'm terrible at math, and my pen's not working. Let me find one that is.
It's about that.
That is
about 10%. That's a huge drop.
Very low. That is extremely low. Yeah.
I've been making a point to reach out to those super voters, but also to new voters. I looked at the folks who had just recently registered, who have never voted for my opponent before, for example. Maybe never have heard of them because they're new to the city. That's a good opportunity to make contact with folks.
So those new voters, sorry, Marcus, those new voters, how a ballpark about how many new voters that haven't voted for your opponent do you think you've got an opportunity to talk to, or how many of them are there?
I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I would say in the city about 200.
Okay. So
like new registered voters since the last mayoral election. Yeah.
Let's say since the last election, there's 1,200 that vote in local. Let's say it goes up to 50. Let's goes up to 1,300. So you're going to increase by a little less than 10%. The voter, the active voters will increase by 10%. If you tap into, if there's 200 new ones, it's going to go up by 200. If you get all of them, you get 20% of the new voters. And then all you got to do is worry about the other, we call them super voters, or you might be able to talk to some people who vote in the other elections. Usually don't vote in your local elections, but you go to them and you tell them why you're better than your opponent. And you convince them, hey, look, it's important what happens here locally. Your vote carries way more weight here locally. And it's easier for you as one of my constituents to get a hold of me here, much easier than it is to get a hold of your governor, your congressperson, your senator, you know what I mean? The president. Like, those guys aren't going to pick up the phone and answer your call, but I will. So this is a great opportunity for you to say, look, your one vote in this election is this percentage of a difference is what it's going to make compared to the millions of people that vote for president. That one vote's so watered down in a national election, but here locally, it really matters. So this is encouraging.
I've been taking every opportunity meeting with voters to write down what they want to see more of and less of in the city. I use this little notebook, and I've got little quarter sheets of paper for every house that I talk to. And I write their needs and desires and their concerns in the city down so that I will have that, that record. I put it into a spreadsheet as well every couple of days, but I will have that going forward as mayor to help focus me. For new voters, people who have not voted in city elections or have not voted at all in this city, I have some giveaways of magnets, a little fridge magnet to give them to keep until November 4th to remind them to vote. I have gotten people registered at their doorstep before. Kansas makes that very easy. They can use their smartphone, and in about 30 seconds, they can update or create their initial registration if they haven't already. So yeah, it's been fun meeting.
Are you saying you're helping register new unregistered voters, or maybe if you convince them, hey, a libertarian's worth putting a yard sign in your yard? Would it make sense that you were registered libertarian? I don't know that you could legally do that. I'm not sure. Not trying to get you in trouble. Don't know the rules.
No, you can. It's free speech. Yeah. You can ask people to register one way or another. I haven't been pushing that when getting people to register to vote. Period.
That's fine. Hey, your focus is to win an election. Speaking of, what is the date of your election, and is it just you and one opponent?
It's just one opponent, and early voting begins October 25th, and the big day is November 4th.
So this is a great opportunity, Marcus. If you can put up, I know he's got it in his name there, but put up the support link. Where is the call to action, everyone? This is the head-up race here, nonpartisan race. We got a very organized, very professional, very electable mayoral candidate in a city. And let's say he's going to break records. He's going to get 1,200 votes. That's what you're going to get. We can hypothetically help raise some money for some text banking, some mailers, some flyers, some yard signs, whatever we could do to help him. So we got some people in the comments section. Anyone there in the comment section, if you're open to giving $25 to our man Billy here, let us know in the comments section that you are willing to dig deep. $25, let's make a difference. I don't know if this stream's being shared. I know Free said he re-shared it on X, it looks like. Not sure if national is or not. If not, maybe they will later. Let's raise some money. Let's make a difference. Marcus, you got anything before I roll into anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because this is obviously a off-year election, and I haven't run for office yet. I'm thinking about it. Do they always have mayoral type elections in off years? Because I do know this. We talked about the super voters. Those are the hardcore people that often dictate what happens in your life, because Americans only want to go to the polls when it's a president, possibly their congressperson, possibly their senator, and then they completely ignore these local elections where those people affect your life the most. Is that what goes on in Kansas, where they have these type? Because last year we had our city council during the big election, and my council person ran unopposed, and I'm thinking about some things right now. But is that how it is in Kansas, where they have that type of election in the off year?
I've actually taken a newspaper to task for calling this an off year. This is the important year. This is the year.
Yeah.
Those are mine. This is an important year. This is the year that affects your local police and fire, your streets, your stormwater, your community college, and your property taxes. So this isn't an off year for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That being said, do you notice, and I don't know if this wasn't where Marcus was going with it, but do you notice a difference in the participation in the people that you've knocked on the work calling super voters compared to your general public going to show up every 4 years and vote for president? You know what I mean? Is there a major difference? Or are these types of people you've run into at city council meetings or community meetings, or showed up with concerns to the Parks and Rec department and got mad at you because you were pulling the Ron Swanson trying to slash it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, the participation in city council meetings has been very low for a long time in our city. I am often the only one there who is not paid to be there. Certainly over the last 10 years, there have been 5 or 6 of those years where I was the only person there not paid to be there. So I haven't seen a lot of folks at city council meetings. I can only recall a handful of meetings in the last decade that brought a lot of people in.
Gotcha. All right. So Marcus, you got anything?
Yeah. What are the local issues that you, as a nonpartisan libertarian, are going to bring to the forefront of your mayoralship? Like,
well,
what are your goals?
The big one is lowering our city budget ever so slightly every year. And I mean that in US dollars, not in mill rate. A lot of politicians talk about mill rate. It's one of the factors in calculating your taxes. But I mean US dollars that our city takes from our residents. I want to see that decrease every year. I also want to reduce corporate welfare. We have given out over $100 million in the last 4 years. That's a lot for a city of 4 square miles. If you were to divide that by like the 5,000 houses or so that we have, that's like a new car. Well, not a new, but that's a car in every driveway in our city. Now, I'm not going to give cars out to everyone either, but what I'd like to do is give back that tax money so that corporations pay their fair share. All that $100 million has been diverted from local schools, parks, libraries, for example, and even our city's own general budget using a mechanism called tax increment financing. It's a really boring way, basically, of taking a lot of that tax money that these corporate properties would normally be paying in, and they put it into a little bucket off to the side. And it's about 95% of all the property taxes that they would pay. So it adds up. Almost all the commercial in our city goes into that TIF district. And by redistributing that fairly, even the school district could tax less to our residents because they wouldn't need to pull so hard on the people.
Yeah.
How receptive, real quick, Eric, how receptive have the people you've knocked on the door and talked to received that message?
I would say pretty well. I'd say I've seen about 70 to 75% very positive response. Maybe 15 are sort of cautious. They want to do their research before they give me like a thumbs up that they're going to vote for me, or before they actually take a yard sign for the yard. And it's been very slim, the folks that were negative to that.
Cool.
So I just want to go back to the corporate welfare. I know we're still talking about that. That was a major issue for me in Jacksonville, Florida, whenever I ran. And a lot of people maybe didn't understand the term, or whenever you tried to explain to them, like, no, they're taking money from you and they're bailing out millionaires and billionaires. And then those millionaires and billionaires are help funding these people's election and reelection. Your city council, your mayor, and I don't know this, but I'm assuming that, your PAC money isn't rolling in because you're out there informing people about corporate welfare. I don't know if your opponent has been getting a lot of special interest money. Let's just say like the voters, once they hear about corporate welfare, they're like, I'm appalled. And so I went to city council meetings for a year and a half before I decided to run. And all I would do is I'd look at the agenda. I would look for the dollar sign with the most numbers and commas after it. And then I would choose that subject and I would go talk about it and call them out. And then if you dug deep enough, you could find the political action committees funding the candidates. You could find the businesses getting the corporate welfare or giving money to the political action committees that are helping fund the candidates. So this is a major problem, and it's in every city. So I applaud you for bringing this to the forefront.
I don't know that I'd say every city. Merriam is a very small city. I don't know that there's any PACs that would donate to my opponent or to myself. My biggest donor so far has been a group of local businesses called the Downtown Merriam Partnership. And they represent, I think it's around 10 to 15 of the businesses in our historic business district. That district faces destruction in the next 5 or so years. Our city has them in the crosshairs. They're using the excuse of a floodplain. And in order to save all of our businesses from a floodplain, one of the plans involves demolishing all of our businesses in the floodplain and covering it with 2 to 5 feet of dirt. That would cost about $150 million, not including rebuilding the streets and infrastructure. And once that's done, the land is likely to be given to rich developers with corporate welfare if the current administration continues. So these businesses are all very concerned for their future, and they're supporting me. I don't think they're the majority of my donations, but they're the largest single one. And if you were to split that among the 15 or so businesses, they're definitely not the largest contributors. I've had $500 contributions from individual neighbors. So it's really an honor to see that much support from people in my community.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's great you're bringing up the corporate welfare and the voters in your community. I'm hoping they're receptive to the message. So,
Democrats and Republicans.
It's a hard one.
Democrats and Republicans alike hate corporate welfare. It's really bad. So I'm glad. I would love to put an end to that district entirely in my first term.
Yeah.
They hate it until it's campaign fundraising time. I think we can say that.
Yeah. But I wanted to touch on that because I was just looking at finance reports. I filed mine last month. They're required within 30 days of the primary, which would have been August 4th. So we just passed that last week. And I went looking because I was curious if my opponent had gotten funding from one of those big construction companies. And his report's not filed. It's past deadline. So that's an interesting discovery that I made.
I just want to real quick touch, because what I wanted to ask you is similarly along the lines of what my guy Free is talking about. It sounds like a domain.
Eminent domain.
Yeah. How have property values done in your area? Because you're like a suburb of Kansas City and Overland Park, which are two rather sizable Midwestern areas. But what have property rates done recently there? Have they gone up?
In the last 10 years, it's doubled. Property values have basically doubled. And so have property taxes. And people are trained to believe that your property value determines your property taxes. If your house goes up, you'll pay more. But what I've discovered from 10 years of seeing council meetings is that is not literally the case. The amount that you pay is apportioned between you and your neighbors based on the value of your home. If you were to add another level to your home and like 5 more bedrooms and your home is now more expensive than your neighbors, then yes, your property taxes should go up. But if all the real estate in a given taxing jurisdiction goes up at the same rate, that actually does not cause taxes to go up. When they go up in that case, it's because the elected bodies have chosen to increase taxes.
Interesting. Eric?
I was just going to say, is there any chance, any chance you've been able to reach out to Tech 9 and get his endorsement? I'm just kidding. I'm just saying it's a Kansas City reference. People that don't know the rapper Tech 9, Kansas City guy.
I think he's from St. Joseph, isn't he?
What?
Kind of north of it. I think Tech 9's from St. Joseph. Maybe I'm thinking of someone.
He reps Kansas City. I don't know if it's I think it's Kansas City, Missouri, not Kansas City, Kansas. But
Yeah.
Those of us that don't live there, we don't know the difference.
We probably don't want to mention Kansas City too much because I think there's a collective hatred for Mahomes in America at this moment, and the whole Taylor Swift Chiefs thing is just nobody wants to watch football and talk about that. And I just brought it up.
Kelsey's endorsement, I think you'll win this. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, there's that.
I recognize there's probably more viewers in Kansas City than Merriam. We're a small Kansas town. But I am very big into the Merriam identity. I would like to see more of our businesses wearing the Merriam name on their storefronts. I think we should be able to stand as a distinct entity. Some of the other politicians in the city see Merriam as merely a suburb of Kansas City. Right. I do not. I see us as being capable and competent of standing on our own identity.
All right.
Let me apologize to him.
Then we will apologize.
I'm sorry.
Tech 9 out of this. We'll leave
Kansas City
out of this.
I don't like the Chiefs or the Raiders. They both suck.
Me either. We're just giving you a hard time. So what would you say has been your biggest hurdle during this campaign season, if you don't mind talking about it? And is there anything that Libertarian National can do to help your state party if they've been helpful, local affiliate, or as individuals? How can we help
There's the link right there, croan.org/support. What's been your biggest hurdle, and how can we help you right now?
You know, the biggest hurdle, I think, is finding people with the free time to volunteer on a regular basis. It's a lot to ask these days. And I feel bad for asking people to do more and to do more. There's a handful who have helped out a lot. And I keep asking them for more, and they're good friends and they help. But there's a limit. You know, everyone's got their day job. They've got their own world and reality to live in. But getting that dedicated, you know, time from folks to do calling or door knocking or distributing literature, things like that, that's hard. That's hard in a local race, in a city this small, especially.
So are you accepting volunteers that don't live in your area if they want to help with phone calling or text banking? I don't know if you're using a software for text banking later. If you're doing it now.
I'm doing it out of a spreadsheet, basically.
That's what I was just wondering if there's if you would accept support or help from volunteers outside of your area, and really all they're going to be able to do is maybe share your stuff on social media, of course. That's free and easy.
Yeah.
Also, if you'd be willing to give them a list of 20 phone numbers for them to call, or I think
Absolutely.
calling works better. But if that's something you're open to,
yeah,
the best. How can they get a hold of you? If they go here to this croan.org/support, is there an email list they can reach out to you and say, "Hey, I'm willing to call 20 people to help out"? Would that help?
Yeah, I have a contact form on the website. I've also got vote@croan.org for campaign contact. They can call me at 913-303-1930. That's my campaign number. Just wait until this podcast is over, because I won't be able to answer it while I'm on the podcast.
Send it now. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, if you got a question, obviously shoot it into the comments.
If you're watching right now and you want to ask Billy how you can help or anything, feel free to put it in the comments, X, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, and we'll share your question here.
I'll also say, if you're making calls, don't be afraid of having a whole bunch of conversations. My experience with the voter phone lists that we get from the government, from the election office, is that most of those numbers don't answer, or they go to voicemail. So my experience is, you know, have something scripted that you're going to say beforehand. If you go to voicemail, have a different script if you end up talking with the person. But, you know, 60, 70, maybe 80% of the time, you're not going to talk to somebody live, and that's okay.
Yeah. Billy, do you have a small script you could share with them? Like, hey, if you reach their voicemail, just say, "Hey, I'm calling on behalf of Billy." You know what I mean?
I've got that.
Of course, you'll share that with them.
Yep.
A lot of times, like if you're calling on behalf of another candidate, you could just refer to their website. Will have a lot of the issues. So if someone asks a question, how does it feel about the millage rate or property taxes or my roads or whatever? You know what I mean? Like it's probably somewhere on your website, and your volunteers could just have it up and be like, "Hey, well, you know, like Billy feels this way about that issue. If you want any more information, I'd be happy to get you in touch with them, and you can talk with them one-on-one." So, yeah,
I have the skeleton of the script in the spreadsheet right now. Gotcha. I use it myself just to make sure I'm consistent with everyone.
So it sounds like people, if you're not going to put your, like we've said, Marcus, put your money where your memes are. Us libertarians like to meme the government to death, or at least politicians to death.
Meme
how about
everybody?
Yeah, we meme everyone. It is a great way to communicate, but sometimes a telephone conversation with voters is important, and it makes a difference, a huge difference. And I'm telling you, like, if you guys have 1 hour to spare once a week until October 25th is whenever early voting starts, that make a huge difference. We got to get 1,200 votes to win. I know that's like the total amount of voters, but that's my point. If we get everyone that voted in the last election to vote for Billy Croan, do the math. I'm terrible. 1,200 divided by 20. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, beep. Come on, people, help.
280, maybe?
Yeah, 1,200 divided by 20. Did I do that right? 60 hours. That's all we need is 60 hours. So let's say we get 6 volunteers, 1 hour a week. I don't know that we don't got that much time. So we need 12 volunteers. We need 12 volunteers, 1 hour a week. I think we can get these phone calls done. How many weeks we got till? And that's just when early voting starts. You can continue to call people throughout early voting. Does your spreadsheet update, or do you have does your supervisor elections update the people on the voter rolls that have voted day to day, or is that's a lot of stuff to have to number crunching to have to worry about?
They have a way that I can purchase that, and I probably will. I wanted to make sure I can afford all the mailers and things first, though.
Speaking
about
of
$150
affording the mailers, Marcus, you got that link. Let's put that up there. Go there. I haven't pulled up his website yet, but I'm assuming there's a donate tab right up front, and people can go there. Let's give this guy $25. That will cover the mailers, cover some text messages. Let's do what we could do. This is a head up one-on-one mayoral race that libertarians can pull out. The guy's got 10 years of experience, name recognition in the community, going to city council meetings, showing up. He was part of the Parks and Rec board, and this is a winnable race, folks.
Every 2 years, our city has elections, and I've seen candidates come and go over this time, and I can't tell you how many who have come out of nowhere and disappeared into nowhere before the election and after the election. That's not going to be me. I will remain active in the city. The only question is where am I sitting in that room?
Exactly. Is he the guy vetoing ridiculous dumb laws, and is he also the guy getting things done for his community in a transparent way and holding those accountable that need to be held accountable? The choice is ours.
Yeah.
People.
Can I just say this real quick? If you're confused about voting for somebody who wants to reduce the government in your life, maybe I don't want to be mean and say maybe you shouldn't vote, but I'm thinking that.
But no, regardless, you should vote for Billy if you live in Merriam.
What has he said that doesn't make sense thus far? We've been here for 47 minutes. Granted, the first 10 minutes were Eric and I, but you've heard Billy for almost 40 minutes now talking about good ideas, keeping money in your pocket, and wanting you to be a participant in your local government. You don't get that from the duopoly. The duopoly wants to tell you why you shouldn't vote for the other person. What you're getting right now is what America was built on. And I have to put an asterisk on that, obviously, being who I am. But America was built on the best idea. And we need to get back to that principle that the best ideas win. And you have a candidate like Billy who's presenting ideas that I fail to see how anybody can get coalesce around that. And so that's why it's so important that we put these messages out there. You know, our good friend Lars always said, all you got to do is go out there and get one more libertarian. If we all go out there and spread like a communicable disease, except this disease
of liberty.
That's what I was about to say. Except this disease is liberty, which is kind of foreign in right now. I'll be honest with you, liberty is kind of foreign right now in America.
I've talked to a number of residents who were marked unaffiliated on the voter rolls, but they told me they were libertarian. And I'm like, why don't you register libertarian? Help the party out.
It makes sense to me, but who am I?
That being said, real quick, Billy, take as much time with this as you want. You're going to get elected. What's your first 100 days look like in office? And when do you take office?
It'll be the first Monday or the second Monday in January. That's the council meeting that I will preside over.
So second Monday in January. What's your first 100 days as mayor of Merriam look like?
Well, it's been I don't want to turn the city upside down. I think that scares a lot of people when you want to change everything. So I don't have a radical 100-day plan. But I want to have small incremental changes over those 4 years. I'm not going
to 8 years, right?
8 years, 8 years, 12 years.
Are there term limits? Are you term limited?
There are no term limits in the city. We have a mayor
years or limit yourself. But
Billy's going
I think
bigger.
2 terms is the most I want to do. I think it's time to hand it over to somebody else after 2 terms.
Can we shout out Free?
So
real quick, Eric, we got to shout out Free. Free just gave $25. He's putting his money where his memes are and his messages. So libertarians, there's the gauntlet. It has been thrown. Coming back up, Billy.
Yep. Who can give more than Free? Don't let Free be the biggest donor tonight.
Overnight.
Because he's already, first time I went on a show, I got 2nd. Then I got 4th. You know what I mean? Let's not let Free win tonight. How about that? But that being said, thank you, Free. It's awesome. We got some people that it's working. This is working. It's happening, right? Billy, so incremental changes, first 100 days. You're not going to flip the upside down.
I don't have a 100-day roadmap. No, I could work on something like that. But generally, as things come onto the agenda, I'm going to be considering, is this necessary for government to do? I see people use government as an asterisk, as a catch-all. They think that something needs to be done. No company wants to do it. No people want to volunteer their personal money to do it. So they put it on the government to do it. And I think that's wrong. The government should not be an asterisk for projects that nobody sees value in personally. When nobody sees value in a project personally, that's a sign, that's a signal that maybe it wasn't worth doing to start with. So, I plan to consider carefully what I put on the agenda for each meeting. Is that a necessary part of government or not?
Gotcha. And that, not to get controversial, but do you think you'll be getting help from your city council, depending on what the makeup looks like after the election? And how have they worked? Have they worked well with the current and soon to be former mayor? Or have there been controversies and ways that you would be able to work better with your city council?
Several of them have opposed the mayor before on some issues. One of them in particular has run against our mayor for office before. It's interesting how people can change from smiles to frowns sometimes at the drop of a hat. I will work productively with them. I've been on boards before where I was the minority opinion and I was also the chair of that board. And we got things done. We had thoughtful conversations and we came to a group consensus and we moved on. So I think that's going to happen on council just the same.
Yeah. Cool. And I think that's important for somebody, the libertarian running for mayor. You know what I mean? Like, we can't go in there and veto every bill in the first 100 days. You know what I mean? He's got 4 years to veto plenty of corporate welfare. All right.
I want to go to Free's comment real quick. Billy, you're totally invited on the show. I don't know if you ever seen Are You Smarter Than a Politician, but it's a fun show to go on. He invites a bunch of liberty-minded individuals on his show, and he presents some very interesting questions, and people give you points or subtract points for you. Eric was a total loser on this show. Twice. And I came in first the first time, and I think I was second the next time. And it was rigged 100%. The second time was rigged. The
first time was rigged too.
The second time was rigged. There's no way
it was rigged.
Sleepy that I was beaten because dude called in his mom, his brother, his cousins. He called in all these people, and it was rigged. And that's what I'll say about that. But we're gonna start closing this up. And was there anything that we missed that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
You're
All right.
a bit.
Can you hear me?
You're a bit.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
broke up a little.
Yeah. So we're gonna have you give your closing statement, whatever you want to talk about. All things Billy. Just go ahead and speak your truth, brother.
I think my audio is back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got you.
you.
No, I think you covered all the points very well. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Do you got a closing statement? Any social media you want to send people to? Links you want to specify? What will go the furthest right now? Another $25 from free, or do you need 25 volunteers to make phone calls, or both?
If Free doesn't get $50 right now, don't go on the show. That's all I'm saying.
Appreciate every contribution that I get. I don't want people to be starving if they're in financial troubles. You know, they have to take care of the families first. But if you're in a good situation, I've been in very fortunate situations in the past in my life where I was happy to give. If you're fortunate like that today, blessed, then please contribute to the campaign. On social, you can find me as Vote Croan on Instagram and on Facebook. #Vote Croan. I try to post there every day. I've gotten, I think it was around 25,000 views in the last 90 days. I'm not a marketing expert, but that sounds pretty impressive for a city of 11,000 people. So yeah, hit me up on.
Hopefully those are repeat views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have X?
I don't use X.
Okay.
I haven't been on there, although I should, I suppose.
And it was Freeze talking about Hody. Hody cheated. Hody, I'm still coming after you, and I'm still Darth Vader. So, regardless, in the end of the saga, Darth Vader still won because he wrecked all those kids, and he still got a ghost visit with Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Empire Strikes Back. So I just want to shout out Darth Vader real quick, as my ramblings go. But Eric, you have a closing statement?
I want to say thanks for coming on, Billy. I seriously, libertarians, please get involved with this campaign any way you can.
This is not a write-in campaign. This is a real campaign. I will be on the ballot. If you want to see a libertarian become a mayor, this is going to happen. I need the support of my neighbors, and I need the support of the viewers here. But this is 100% real, and I'm ready. And let's make this happen together.
Of all the candidates we've had on so far, I think this is the most. It might be the only mayoral race so far, right, Marcus? Have we had any other mayoral candidates?
I think you're correct. I think you're correct. We've had council people.
Look,
and whatnot.
This being a head-up race, this might be the most winnable race of any libertarian in the country. And I'm telling you, your 1 hour of volunteering to make phone calls and your $25 is going to go a long way with this campaign. We can win this, people. You just got to get involved. Please, like he said, go to the social medias, share his content, get involved. I'm hoping any libertarians in the area of Merriam, Kansas see this and they get involved. I don't know if you can convince your state party to share this podcast episode and tell them, hey, let's get involved with this campaign.
They will.
Let's go, people.
Croan.org. That's Charlie, Roger, Oscar, Alpha, Charlie, Roger, Oscar, Alpha, N as in November 4th.org.
There you go.
Awesome. I just want to close by saying Eric summed this up very well, where this is a winnable race. And if you want to see lower prices, we have to lower government involvement in your life. That's the first thing that we need to do. And that starts locally. That starts with your local government getting rid of all these weird fees that they put on builders that want to build houses in your town or want to build a store or develop an undeveloped piece of property. That's how we lower prices.
Eliminating franchise fees is one thing I want to do as well in our city.
Yeah, and it's right. It's right there in front of your face, America. You have people like Billy that are going to eliminate those barriers to your true economic freedom. And this is where it's at. It's with the Libertarian Party, and it starts locally. I want to say in closing, one more time. Hold on, we have one more comment. Also, any candidate you can think of to help. I would. We need to network this like the duopoly does, with the Black Powder podcast, with all these libertarian leaning podcasts. We need to come together as one, because if you're a libertarian podcast, you're not making a crap ton of money doing this. You're doing this out of the spirit of liberty that you have in your heart. And I've always said, this isn't for profit. This is for prophecy for me, because I can't look my kids in the eye and say, I left this world worse for you than when I came into it. And that's why I do what I do. I do this not out of the kindness of my heart, but as a method to say, I tried to do my part. And you as Americans and libertarians doing your part, $5, $10, $15, $20, $25, anything you could do towards liberty benefits you in the long run, because this is going to spread. As we start locally, it will spread, and then they will have to face our ideas. The reason why the duopoly doesn't change anything is because they know they don't have to. Until there's a viable alternative that is threatening their positions of power, that is the only time they will become honest. They don't have to be honest with you. All they have to do is sell you fear. With that being said, this is the Black Powder Podcast. I'll give you one more word, Billy, because this is your show.
Sure. So one of my goals as mayor is, in addition to serving our community, but is to demonstrate to the county, to the state in general, that libertarianism works, that we can be successful with lowered taxes. You're talking about spreading across the country. It can start right here in Merriam, Kansas.
Right.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, I just want to say back to what Marcus is saying, like, this is where it starts, people. Everyone involved, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people involved with the Libertarian Party have said a lot of things about starting local, decentralized revolution. Well, why don't y'all put your money where your means are? Let's go help Billy. Even if you don't live in his city, his county, his state, we can make a difference in this race. If you do live, let's say within an hour of Billy, within an hour of Merriam, Kansas, and you consider yourself a libertarian or liberty-leaning, whatever party, go get involved with this campaign and see how you can help. Go volunteer and knock on doors one Saturday afternoon and see how much of a difference it makes. Let's get involved. Let's do this thing.
Excellent. With that being said, as we always end the only real libertarian podcast in the universe, live free or die.
Or die.